In this video, I will be showing you how to do the Tunisian popcorn stitch. I will be using an Afghan hook, and this one is a 6mm hook, but of course you can use whichever size you need for your work. And we will begin with the slip stitch. And the number of chains will be a multiple of 4. So I'm going to do 12 for my multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Once you have your multiple of 4, you are then going to add 5 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For row 1, I'm going to be working in these back bumps. We're going to skip that first stitch and work into the second stitch from the hook. You're going to insert your hook and bring up the loop. You're going to keep all your loops on the hook as you go. So move to the next stitch and bring up the next loop. So under, grab your yarn, bring up the loop. And we'll do this all the way to the end of the row. And here I'm ready to begin row 2. I've worked all the way across. I've got all my loops on the hook, and I'm going to grab the yarn and pull through just that first loop, and grab the yarn and pull through 2 loops. Grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops. And you'll continue to do this all the way to the end of this row. So grab your yarn, pull through 2, grab your yarn, pull through 2. And when you get to the end of your row, you'll come to where you've got those last 2. So grab your yarn and pull through those final 2. For row 3, we're going to skip this first stitch here, go under this next vertical bar, and bring up the loop. And you're going to do that for the first 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, making sure you're only going through these loops here. And now you're going to just bring up a loop through each of the next 4 stitches. So moving to the next stitch, grab the yarn, bring up a loop. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now only working with this last loop here, we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Moving to the next 4 stitches, I'm going to go under, bring up the loop. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And only working with this final loop here, chain 3. And you'll continue to repeat this all the way to the end of your row. I'm almost done here. So making sure that last loop doesn't fall off. I'm going to move to the next stitch. And there's 1, 2, 3, and on this final one I like to work under both of those loops. It just gives it a nice cleaner straight edge to where this side will end up matching the other side. Row 4, we will be doing the same as you do for a basic stitch. So you'll grab your yarn, pull through just that first loop, grab your yarn, pull through 2. Grab your yarn, pull through 2. And you'll continue to do this all the way across till you reach the end of your row. And here I've reached the end of my row. And you can see those chains kind of pop out a little bit. It'll become more prominent as we move on. So where were we? Row 5 will be your basic Tunisian stitch. So you're going to skip this first one, go under the next bar, bring up your loop. So just go under the next stitch and bring up your loop. And when you get to where you did your chain, make sure you go under the actual bar here and not under your stitch. So through that bar and then continue. And when you get to the next one, you can see, if you kind of poke it out a little bit, you can see that bar right there at the top, and you'll go under that. You'll continue to do this all the way to the end of your row. And I'm ready for row 6, and it'll be just like we did with row 4. You'll just grab your yarn, pull through that first loop, grab your yarn, and pull through 2. So just your basic stitch. So yarn over, pull through 2. And you'll keep going until you've reached the end of this row. And there you have it. For row 7, you're going to skip this first bar here, and you're going to do your basic stitch under the next 2. So there's 1 and 2, and now working with just this one loop, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and now you're going to work the next 4 stitches with the basic stitch. So go under, bring up your loop. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And with this final loop, you're going to chain 3. And you'll continue to repeat this all the way across. So we just did 4, and now we're only going to do 2. So go under. So there's 1 and 2, and now chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We just did 2, so now we'll do 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 3 using just that final loop there. And you'll continue to alternate between doing 4 and 2. And we're coming up to the end of this row. So we just did 4. So now we'll do 2, 1, 2, chain 3. I'm going to finish off this row just going under this bar, and then like all the other rows, I like to work under both of those loops for that final stitch. For row 8, we will just do our basic return trip across the work. So yarn over, pull through that first loop, grab your yarn, pull through 2. Grab your yarn, pull through 2. Making sure to only go under 2 each time. And you'll do that all the way across. And when you you get to your final 2, you'll just pull through that last 2 and you're ready for the next row. For row 9, we're going to just do the basic Tunisian stitch. So skip that first bar, go into the next one, and bring up your loop. And this is where we did our chain, so you need to make sure that you're going under that bar up there at the top, and bring up your loop. Move to the next one, and just continue this all the way across. This is where we did our chain, so I want to make sure that I go under that bar. Oops. And you'll continue this until you've reached the end of your row. And for row 10, you'll just do your basic return trip. Grab your yarn, bring up your loop through that first stitch. Grab your yarn, pull through 2, grab your yarn, pull through 2, all the way across. Just like so. And from this point on, you will repeat starting at row 3. So you'll repeat rows 3 through 10 until you've reached the size of the work you're looking for. Once your piece is to the size you're looking for to finish off your work, we'll just do a slip stitch all the way across. So skip this first bar here, go under the next one, grab your yarn, and bring it all the way through for your slip stitch. Move to the next one and do a slip stitch, and continue to do your slip stitch all the way across. And what this is going to do is going to smooth out so you don't end up with this rough edge here. It's going to smooth it out so that way this edge matches here and it makes a nice smooth transition for your corner.